What is up, YouTube? It's DocuStyle Gaming, or DSG, and we are back at it again with another Anthem video for you today. And today's video is going to be a pretty short and quick video, just talking about a bunch of the different button configurations, loadouts, everything like that in terms of Anthem, what each button on the controller is going to mean. Now, I know a lot of people probably aren't going to watch this video to the end, because most people really don't care for a lot of this information. I know some people do want to know, so that's why I'm actually making this video, because I actually got quite a few people asking me to make a video about the different button loadouts and configurations and everything like that in Anthem. So after watching a couple interviews and gameplays of people who had on-hand experience with the game, I actually managed to find out what literally every button on the controller does on Anthem in the game. And then at the end of the video, I'll also be covering two legendary gear items and some I guess new effects, just some more information that were given on those as well. But I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to get straight into the video. So first things first is the melee button. The melee attack button is going to be Y for Xbox and then triangle for PS4. So it's going to be your basic melee attacks, your aerial melee attacks, which, again, Mark Dara did confirm there would be aerial melee attacks. Now, your strafe button, which they also did go on to say that you could strafe both in air and on the ground, side to side, when you're hovering, things like that. And then also in the air, you'll also be able to do air rolls with this button as well. But your strafe button for Xbox is going to be B, and then for PS4, it's going to be your circle button. So that is the button for that. I mean, I'll be having pictures of all the different ones for you on screen. Granted, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what the buttons are, what they look like, but there you go. In the switch weapon and reload button, this is actually the one thing that I hear a lot of people who have played the demo complain about, because sometimes you're trying to reload your weapon, but you accidentally switch weapons. So people were kind of wishing that you could put it on a different button, but literally every button has something on it, so it's kind of hard to do that unless it was maybe on a directional pad, but I'll get back to directional pad a little later. But the switch weapon and reload weapons button is going to be X on X on Xbox One, and then square on PlayStation. And that's, yeah, that'll be the button for the switch weapon and reload weapon mechanic in the game. Then the jump, we don't know if there's going to be a double jump. I doubt it, because they'll be able to fly. But the jump button is going to be X on PS4 or A on Xbox One. Now, your gear attachment loadouts, you have two different gear attachment loadouts that you can put on at each time. And gear attachment loadout 1's button is going to be your LB button for Xbox and your L1 button for PS4. And then gear attachment 2 loadout is going to be your RB or R1 for PS4. And then, of course, your basic first-person shooter type games, your LB2 or your is going to be your aim, and then your RB2 or R2 for PS4 is going to be your shoot. So that's your standard thing. And then LB, RB, or L1 and R1 is going to be the way you activate your ultimate ability when your meter is actually fully charged. Now, the actual analogs on the controller, your left stick, right stick, whatever you want to call it, or for PlayStation, it's L3, R3. But the left stick or L3 for PS4 is going to be your toggle for your flight. And then your right stick or right analog or R3 for PS4 is going to be your toggle for your hover ability in game. So as I mentioned, you would be able to toggle hover and flight, and it's actually kind of cool, because they did actually go on and say that there's another way to cool off your jets when you fly in game, outside of flying under waterfalls, having people, your teammates, like freeze your jets, cool your jets, or landing in water. Apparently, when you dive down or nose dive, that draft from the air can also cool your jets as well. So that's kind of cool, and it'll let you actually fly a little longer if you're in the air for a pretty long time and then decide to dive down a little further. And then you could actually, even in that clip just now, when you were just looking at the Colossus fly, you could see it was almost like a draft of air that was going past him. So if you're going at, I guess, at a certain speed downwards, you'll also be able to cool off your jets a little bit like that. So that's going to be your toggle buttons for your flight, which is L3 or your left analog or left stick, and then for toggling for your hover, It's going to be R3 or your right stick or right analog, whatever you want to call it. And also on the side note to hover, for the actually in the last video, who didn't actually watch the full video, the storms do have a infinite hover. I already posted the tweet of it in the last video, or the video prior to it. I think it was the one where I was talking about the infinite hover for the storms. But yes, they do have one. If you went and watched the video, you'd see it. I posted the tweets, 2 tweets, because he's double confirmed it now that the storms do in fact have an infinite hover in the game, whereas other ones have a cooldown for their hovers. So that's all the controls and layouts and buttons for the controllers that we know of so far. And then the one things that nobody has really talked on or touched on was the directional pad buttons. Now, we do know there's going to be emotes in the game. We don't know if it's going to be similar to how Destiny's is, where each one of the directional pad does a different emote, or maybe it could just be, you know, like you press it up and then it will give you another little section that'll do pop-outs for other emotes. Who knows? Because we know you can do different emotes, and you can throw flares in the game, which are considered an emote as well. And then also in a previous video I mentioned, when you're on your actual game screen, before you select your mission, there's a consumable tab too, and you have 3 consumables that you can go there. So 3 of those could go on one of the 4 directional pads or D-pad buttons, or it could be, you know, same way like the emotes that you hold down one of the directional pad buttons and it toggles out another little screen where you can select one of the consumables, or it might just be an inventory type thing, but who knows. But that is everything we got on the controls of Anthem so far. Now, the last bit of information was just a bit of new legendary, I guess, gear and weapon news and information like that. So we know legendary weapons are the 2nd highest tier rewards before masterwork items in the game. And apparently most, if not all, legendary weapons will have some form of an extra or a legendary effect to their weapons. As we saw in a previous video, we saw where in the gameplay, the ranger shot his pulse rifle, is what they called it. It was a pulse rifle that did ricochet shots. Then they also mentioned that there would be another type of rifle for the ranger that after every 10 shots, your next shot is going to do a massive AoE explosion. And then also in the gameplay trailer that we've been seeing, the ranger's ice grenade, which we have said and they've said pretty much is a legendary gear attachment. That ice grenade, once you kill frozen enemies, it creates another extra explosion after it. So by doing combos off of frozen enemies and then killing them while they're frozen, it will actually do another kill to that another explosion to that as well, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's pretty much all I got for this video. Like I said, it was going to be pretty short. I just wanted to cover a bit about the controls, the layouts, everything like that, because I did get a bunch of questions about it. So that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. I'm pretty close to 1,000 subs. Like I said, I'll be doing a pretty big giveaway at 1,000. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for stopping by for the view. If you like it, give it a like. You know what to do. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.